Today's story is a true story about two kind-hearted friends who just wanted to help out the poor people and ended up experiencing the paranormal. The two friends were pretty well off and they were on a trip on some village and they came across an abandoned hospital. Now, apart from the hospital, the nearest other hospital was a few villages over. So if there ever was an emergency in that village, it would be very fatal. So the two friends decided right there that they're going to end up buying the hospital and they're going to convert it and reopen it. The hospital was 3 stories, so it was a massive hospital, and they quickly got the deeds and they were ready to buy the hospital. After everything was done and they bought the building, they decided that they're going to spend the night in that hospital. There was room downstairs on the first floor where the doctors and nurses used to stay, so staying there was pretty normal. The night that they were supposed to stay in the hospital, they had a little campfire going outside and they were just chilling and talking. Now in villages, after around 7 o'clock, it becomes really quiet, so they were not really expecting anyone until suddenly they saw a man in a white Punjabi and a brown throne. They were just walking towards them. They were a bit surprised to see this man, but they were not shocked or they were not scared of it. When this old man came next to the friends gave him salam and the old man replied back. The old man then asked what they were doing over there, and the friends explained to the old man that they're planning to buy the hospital and reopen it. Hearing this, the old man said that they need to be careful, that this place is cursed and it's not a good place. The friends just laughed it off and they said they'll be fine and they're just going to reopen it. They even invited the old man to come sit down and have some food with them, but the old man refused and walked away. Now, as already mentioned before, the friends were planning to stay in one room on the first floor. All the rooms upstairs were locked up and no one knew who had the keys, so the very next day they had someone coming in to break all the locks so they can get access to all the rooms. The friends went to bed and they quickly fell asleep until they were both awakened by sounds coming from the floor above. They heard a lot of footsteps and they heard what sounded like a boy crying and screaming. They thought someone must have kidnapped someone and they brought them to the hospital thinking it was abandoned, so both of them made their way upstairs. When they went upstairs, they saw that one of the room's door was open and there was light coming in from there. They crept up to the room and inside they saw there was a boy in a bed and he was being held down by 2 nurses and there was also a doctor there, and the boy was bleeding everywhere. This kind of freaked them out, but they wanted to save the boy anyway, so they went inside and one of the friends touched the shoulder of one of the nurses. The moment they touched the shoulder, they were thrown away from the room and the door immediately shut behind them. This completely freaked them out and they decided to run away, and while they were running they came across another room. This time the door was open and they saw blood coming out of the door of that room. They don't remember anything after that because right at that moment they both woke up to the Fajr Azan. So yeah, both of them were dreaming. They both had the exact same dream. They didn't sleep for the rest of the night until the next morning when the caretaker of the hospital came in. Over breakfast, the friends told the caretaker what had happened to them over the night, and the caretaker was just sitting there and he listened to the whole thing that they said. Upon hearing this, the caretaker told them that long time ago, this was a very busy hospital. There was a very old and caring doctor who used to live there. He didn't have any family, so he used to live in the hospital itself. One day, a local boy was brought in for some emergency and he had some surgery done on him. The boy was resting after the surgery and then his stitches opened up for some reason. The boy was screaming in pain. He had blood coming out of everywhere. The nurses tried to calm him down, but the doctors over there did not have enough resources to save the boy's life because it was just a village in the middle of nowhere and it was very hard to get things right there and then. The boy died in the same room the friends saw him the night before. Following this, the boy was buried by the villagers, but the villagers blamed the doctor, saying that he was responsible for this. Eventually, over the next few weeks, people stopped coming to the hospital. They would rather go to the other hospital, and it kind of pretty much got deserted. Over those next few weeks, various rumors started spreading about the doctor, and the villagers got angry more and more until one day they decided that they're going to come and arrest the doctor. Now, it's a small village, they didn't have police, so it was just a local panchayat that used to deal with it. When the villagers came, they found the doctor in his room. He had sliced his wrist and he was just laying there on the floor. Also, this was the room where the friends saw the blood coming out. That used to be the doctor's bedroom. Now, back in those days, he was very superstitious and they thought that suicide was a very bad omen. So they took the body, they put the body in the morgue and they shut down the hospital that same day. And it has been locked ever since. Hearing this, the friends kind of got freaked out, but they still wanted to proceed as normal because they still wanted to open the hospital. So the locksmith came in and started breaking all the locks from all the doors. They kept breaking this until they reached the doctor's office. In his office, paper was everywhere. There was dust covering everything. It was just left how it was. No one ever went through his office before. While shuffling through the paperwork, one of the friends opened the drawer, and over there they saw a note left by the doctor. It was the last note the doctor ever wrote, and in the note he stated that he had done nothing wrong in the surgery. The surgery was fine, but he simply did not have the resources to save the boy when the stitches reopened. The doctor did not blame anyone except himself for it, for not being prepared enough, and he ended up killing himself. Now, this is kind of what you would expect, but what freaked out the friends even more was when they saw the doctor's picture. Because once they cleared the dust from the doctor's picture, it was the exact same old man they saw the night before. So the friends brought an imam over and they told the imam the whole story. The imam said since the friends were not hurt the night before, it's probably just an unrested spirit and they should get the bones of the merchant from the morgue and just give it a proper funeral. So that very day they got other villagers and they got the bones out and they had a proper funeral. And that night once again the friends went to bed at night and they had absolutely no issues. Within a few months the hospital was reopened, everything was brand new, they had new equipment there, they had new doctors and nurses there, and no more paranormal thing was happening. Until one day, something happened. A boy was brought in with a snake bite and he needed one specific antivenom, which they did not have. The doctors and nurses were well aware they did not have it because they never ordered it and they never had a case of anyone needing that. And there was absolutely no time for them to go to another hospital and get it from them. So they pretty much were just trying to keep the boy comfortable until while going through the drawers, they found the thing that they wanted. They found the exact antivenom that they needed at that time. It was all sealed up, it was brand new, and it was just there. The doctors decided to use it because they had no other alternatives, and the boy survived. Now, this wasn't the only time it happened a few more times. During some emergency, when they were badly needed a medicine which they didn't have, it would just miraculously appear somewhere. And on the days that this happened, people reported seeing an old man in a white Punjabi and a brown shawl looking up at the hospital from the courtyard and smiling.